about personnel policies and conflict evolution. If you guys could focus on Asif, that would be excellent, but all of them are good to do. Does anyone want to help with the various tasks like notes? Someone needs to work on the attendance.
I can help.
Oh no, hold on a second. Yeah, someone could help get everything set up. That'd be great. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, Jay, before you leave, can you share the document with me?
The document is already shared.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
You can just check Sony. On Sony, or also, or I can send it now again on Drew.
You can just share it on the Hangout.
Okay.
Let's see, will I make on time? Here you will see Albina, right? It's like this.
I don't know how this document is going to be arranged, set up. You can just try. I will also help you there. Let me send everyone here over the Skype, over the internet. Now, is that James?
There is Benji and Julie.
I think is that something like on time or just arranging the document? I don't know. Are we going to? I think here is a like a special team, so we just do this.
I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Did you guys get everyone set up with the all of the different positions, like I asked?
Do we have like video indexing or what do we have?
Thomas also here.
Okay, all right, so let's keep going here. So anyone want to help with facilitation?
Help with facilitation.
Okay, I will help on that.
Okay, let's see what we have. We had Jay, was that Zilu and Lucy?
Yep.
Okay, so Jay can be like the main facilitator. Zilu can be a facilitator in training. And Lucy can be like a co-facilitator. Note taking? Anyone be a note taker?
I want to be a timekeeper.
Oh, Asif.
Me.
I will help Asif. Okay.
Is that Aldina? People, please say their name when they sign up for things. Also, all of this can literally happen in about 10 seconds if everyone just went to the doc and wrote their name. Note takers.
Note taker. I'll help.
Aldina. Great. Video indexer, we have James. Task responsibility master, Zilu.
I will help James on also.
Excuse me, I want to be a timekeeper.
Okay, so we're gonna have Benji as well. And what about session value tracking, master document update?
Did you say they will be a timekeeper?
I will do Zilu.
Yeah, you know, my name is already there for session value tracking. I said, yeah, I've done it.
We
Good.
always can have more
I'll
than
let
one.
you guys there.
We can always
Okay.
have more than one person help out with everything. So, these are all co-coordinator positions. So we just need a master document updater.
Yep. Lucy there.
Okay, Lucy's gonna help out with master document updating. All right, so let's check in. Does anyone, maybe Zilu or Lucy, do either of you want to do the check-ins? And can everybody please mute? Can everyone please mute, including Benji and other people talking? So we're checking in. Zilu or Lucy, do you guys want to do the check-ins? And we'll try to keep the check-ins pretty short.
Yep, I can check in. Hello, guys.
No. Stop. Please stop. If you guys are going to sign up for facilitation, your role in check-ins is totally different. So if you're signed up as a facilitator and I ask if you want to help lead the check-ins, that doesn't mean that you check in, okay? That means you help other people check in.
Okay.
Cool.
So, guys, I think it's time to check in. Anyone to check in, please? You can just go. Albina?
Hi, everyone. Today I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be part of this session. I'm at 6 today. Thank you.
Okay. Next person, please.
Yeah,
Benji?
it's me.
Okay, I see.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm glad to meet you here. And I'm feeling great also, and I'm 6 today.
Okay, I see.
Yes, actually, I want you including me. I want everyone to understand the importance of this session, which is really, really important to understand. So, yeah, I'm very much excited, and I'm at 6 now.
Okay, good. Well, James?
Hello everyone. Today I'm feeling really good.
This service is provided
I got to meet you guys finally.
To start, you are the only participant in the conference. The recording has started.
Ever. So this is like my first time, and it's good that I'm here. And I'm very excited. So for me today, I'm at 6.
Okay. You go next. Thomas?
Hello, guys. I'm so excited to meet you at my first time here. I think you should give me a task. I'm seeing that you are getting some task. I think, and I didn't get anyone in a task. So I should get a task now, and someone will help me on that. So, and for me today is a 6. I'm so excited today.
Okay, thank you. Zilu?
I'm feeling good today, and I'm on 6.
Okay, Abdul?
There is not Abdul, I think.
Okay, I think we lost him. We have Julie. Can you check in?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm great today, and I'm 6, so I'm really excited to start the session.
Okay, I think Jay.
Hey, yes, I am doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm like a 6.5, and I am a little overwhelmed about this, but I'm excited that we're doing it, and hopefully it all works out well. And so we'll see what happens.
Okay, I think I'm the last remaining. I can check in now. Hello, everyone. Glad to have you all today. I think this is the big number ever we have in our Sonic team since we begin this team of session by Sonic team. I'm so excited to have you all here. I'm at 6 today. now we can now move ahead and we have Steve. Steve is just on. Hi, Steve. Can you check in, please?
Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
I am here. I am fine. I am tired. I am leaving. I will be on a plane in exactly 12 hours, heading for where Julie and Benji are, the Philippines. I leave here. I land in 24 hours later at Manila. And I'm just exhausted. But I did tell Jay I would get here for this, so I'm here.
Okay, good. Anyone left, please, to check in, or everyone is already checking? Then we are done. Everyone check in. Then we can move ahead on other things. Jay, can you guide us on that?
Yeah, so we're going to go through desired outcomes next. When you're planning and organizing meetings, desired outcomes and topics, and the role of the facilitator is also, there's also another type of role within meetings, which is basically planning and preparation for the meeting. So, you know, but it kind of overlaps with the facilitator role if no one plans for the meeting and creates the topics and everything. But anyways, when you do that planning, it's really good. So anyways, back to the facilitator role. The desired outcomes that I have is to review and engage in existing and new personnel policies. And then secondly, to engage in conflict evolution processes as needed and answer other questions and needs of the team.
Okay. Anyone with a desired outcome apart from what Jay said?
For me, what I think is a desired outcome, because since now we have a lot of new members, for me, desired outcome would be to see that the new members are set within the FQN and within the Sonic team as well.
Okay, I can see. Okay. Anyone again with the outcome, please? You can just say. Asif?
No, I'm okay with the outcomes right now.
Okay.
So,
Steve, do you have an outcome for this session, whatever you think can be good for? I think because everyone.
No, I'm good. I'm good with what's there.
Okay, so jumping back in here as facilitator role, I'm gonna do the desired outcomes and the topics, and then you know when we go into the first topic, we can have Zilu give it a try. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so anyways, I think our desired outcomes are good. I do want to give a try here. I'm gonna try to. I wish we had our Sonic team linked at the top. So that's something that's missing here. Is we need the Sonic team linked at the top.
The global team link, Sonic team link.
Mainly just the Sonic team. But I should be able to find it here.
I'll add it.
Main Atlantic session. Let's do main Sonic session. Okay, so we might want to review from yesterday potentially. So let's just make sure we have that. Notes from last meeting. Okay, so another thing I want to mention here is that I think this is a good time to introduce the concept of like, you know, what we are not going to achieve. Why is it so slow? So one thing that we that I'm proposing that we would not achieve is actually there's two things. One is to what James just said, like to see that all new members are set up within the Sonic team. There's just so much for that. I don't think we're going to get that accomplished, but we can, make sure the most essential needs of our new members are addressed. And then the other one is that, to solve all the conflicts and issues as a team. I just think that that would be all but impossible to solve all conflicts in one session as a team. So that's what I would propose that we are not going to achieve, and then these would be our desired outcomes. Do we have agreement on the desired outcomes? Are there any concerns about it?
I'm okay with it.
I'm also okay with it.
I'm okay with that.
Any objections? Okay.
No objection for me.
So we have agreement on our desired outcomes. So for the topics, let's check in on Thomas briefly. Make sure that he gets some help if he needs it, because he had a couple questions. And that should be like, 2 to 5 minutes. Then we have recording options and policies I want to cover really quick, 1 or 2 minutes there. Personnel policies. This is probably going to need 30 minutes or so, plus HR rankings, 5 minutes. Independence levels, preventing conflict, not engaging. We also have a task here I just remembered. We need to review the policy decisions from I think it was either the Atlantic or the Andromeda session a few weeks ago. So if someone could pull that up, that'd be great. Can anyone do that? Can any of the 10 of us volunteer to take on this task?
What task is that?
To get the policy decision from either Atlantic or drama session from a few weeks ago. Anyways, hopefully that can happen. But then we want to go through evaluations. And then this also involves basically policy decisions. What to do if someone is not doing their work / acting professionally. There's also meeting standing rules, meeting rules / standing rules specifically.
Whoever's going to have decisions, let's go to the main decisions doc, to the master decisions doc. It's in there. If nobody else can find it, I'll get it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll double check it. Would you think it's Andromeda?
Yeah, because I know it's in the master doc because I put it in there. So
my main accounting session there was 4th July. And
okay, I think that's pretty much what I got. How do you guys like the topics? Do you want me to review them again? Excellent. Tuesday, July 4th. So, do you guys want me to review the topics again?
I think I don't have a problem with the topics.
Okay, so I think that we're pretty good here. Let's are we ready to get started? Are there any objections to the topics as they're proposed?
For me.
Okay, so let's do this. The first topic, let's let Zilu do the first topic. You want to give it a try, Zilu?
Yeah. Okay.
So that you just introduce the topic, and then you can also talk about the desired outcome, right? Which we can note here as well. And Zilu, are you there? So you're taking over the facilitation for this topic, Zilu. So you're just helping introduce the topic, the desired outcome, make sure everyone knows what we're talking about, and then you can hand it over to me or anyone that wants to help Thomas. Are you there, Zilu?
Yes. I was looking for fourth Atlantic session, and there's priority.
We don't need that.
What I have to do?
I thought you said you wanted to help facilitate. Do you want to help facilitate or not?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I will.
Okay, yeah. So if you want to help facilitate, you go to the section that we are in the notes. And then you
I'm going
present it and get everybody on the same page and go from there.
Zilu, can I help you on that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, if Zilu, if you don't want to do it, then we could just have Lucy do it.
Okay, I think we are on a desired outcome.
So
before we move to priority topics of today, we just need to ask people if they still have something for desired outcome.
No. We already agreed to the desired outcomes. We already agreed to the topics. We're starting the first topic.
Okay.
So Zilu.
Yeah, I did priority topics.
Zilu.
On the priority topics.
Hello. Can anybody hear me?
Start on the first topic, because I think that is what we are supposed to. Zilu was supposed to introduce.
Guys, everybody, can everybody please listen and we have one main facilitator. Let's everybody mute except for Zilu, because it's a lot of noise and background noise.
So now I think we need to begin our topic today on
Lucy.
Yes.
I'm trying to help facilitate and get this done. So if everyone could just please listen. Right now we're still addressing Zilu. Zilu, do you not want to facilitate and pass it off to someone else?
I put it on the priority topics and project into after the desired outcomes, and going to edit this one.
Okay, but that's not my question, Zilu. Zilu, are you listening to me?
Yes.
The question is if you want to facilitate this topic. Yes or no?
Yes.
You do want to facilitate the topic. Okay, so let's everybody just calm down. Let's let Zilu facilitate the topic. If he wants to do it, let's just take the time, let him do it. And, this is learning for all of us, So, and Lucy,
I think
one.
If Lucy or other experienced people can do this, and I will follow them right now.
That's not how it works, Zilu. That's not how it works. Either you do it now or you don't do it now and we give it to someone else. So
I will not do this.
Okay, so you're saying you do not want to do this topic.
Right.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And it's just really important to get a clear, direct answer. So you said yes or no like 5 times, and you went back and forth, and so it created a little chaos. Okay?
Okay.
So Zilu is not going to do the topic, so now we're going to hand it off to Lucy. Go for it, Lucy.
Okay. Now our priority topics, we will begin on Thomas provision buddy teams. That will take 2 to 5 minutes, and I think Jay will guide us on his how to about that. Jay.
So I mean, the only thing I would add here is that our friend Thomas asked for a task. I swear I wrote down a task. All right, here we have 2 tasks. How odd. This is a huge mess here. So we have topics, projects, responsibilities, tasks, and then there's projects again, or responsibilities again, and tasks again. Okay, let's fix that. Double, triple, quadruple check everything, guys. There's 10 of us. So one task that you could do, Thomas, is to create a buddy team for your combined HR proposal. Have you done that yet?
I have not found people with the same timetable. So because right now we are all here, so I think you can make a buddy team right now, surely.
So your provisional buddy team is Thomas and Albina. I don't think anyone has. Oh my God.
Okay.
Additionally,
I don't have any contact to Albina. I don't know. Okay.
So we need to share Albina's contact info with Thomas.
Yeah.
Can someone do that? James?
I think Albina is also there.
Yeah, I'm present here.
I know, but you're not going to share your contact information with all of us on the call right now. But James can handle
it.
I
will do it. I'll do it.
Thank you, James. Okay, from there, another task that you guys could do would be like, getting your schedule together and updating the buddy team schedule. With the days that you're going to be there. So, and someone could help you guys with that too. Other tasks, James, do you have any other things for Thomas, or are there other things that people need help with, like new people? Because that's what I got. So we're saying if there's anything else that Thomas and James wanted to add, and I'll also pass it back to Lucy to see if there's other things.
For now, I think everything is set up for him, because the document is his name document is updated, and I had shown him the basics. So I think for now we are good. If anything comes up, I will update him.
So Lucy, I would just, check in with Thomas again, check in with Albina again, see if anyone else has any other needs, and then we're ready to move on.
Okay. Can we check it right now about the needs, or later, or any other times?
So, I mean, basically the question is to make sure you, Thomas, and you, Albina, feel like you guys have enough information. You should have access to the list of all the responsibilities you guys can sign up for. So that's something you're going to want to do, is basically choose 5 responsibilities that you guys can focus on. And then we can slowly train you over time. Do you guys know where the list of responsibilities is?
Okay, for me, I don't know.
Okay, I'll link that to you.
Yes. Okay,
the easiest place to find it is on the buddy team schedule in the info tab. So, but are you feel better now, Thomas? Do you have a couple tasks that you pretty good, or what?
I'm good. So I'll go to that link and get some responsibility, right?
I'm gonna link it here. This is the the new buddy team schedule.
Okay.
And then you go to the last tab. It's called info, and it has Here is the link to all of the responsibilities lists. I think we have about 150 to 200 responsibilities listed there. And then I think that's pretty much, oh, the other thing I can give you really fast, which will be helpful.
Yeah.
Can you guys see my screen?
Okay, I can see.
I'm just curious if you guys can see my screen. You guys can see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. All right. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and link both of these. So this is for your buddy team. This buddy team process doc right here goes through everything you need to know for your buddy team, setting up your buddy team.
Okay.
Additionally, there's the new policies and independence levels. That's good to have understanding on if you haven't read it yet. And everyone needs to review the responsibility organizing section. Because everybody needs to be doing responsibility organizing. And if Lucy and Abdul could help update the buddy schedule as well with Albina and Thomas. I think James said he might help with this too. All right, I think we're good. Lucy?
Okay.
Albina,
okay,
wait.
go ahead.
Let's see if Albina had anything. Did Albina have anything?
No, I'm okay with that, as long as we get someone to train us, because I'm still new here. Yeah.
Cool. And you guys can always watch the training videos based on the types of responsibilities you're interested in, and we'll help you find them, and you just have to tell us what you're interested in, okay?
Okay.
And you know, you would just watch.
Yeah, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Can I able to fit them on my schedule, because I schedule my time, maybe when they are free, I can teach one of them whatever they don't understand.
Well, you need to schedule your buddy team session as a weekly buddy team session anytime you want to do it. But if it's going to be either during the Eurafrica or the Central Asia or Middle East session or whatever, and we need to schedule the weekly main session first. That comes first. Otherwise, you can do it during Austrasia or Atlantic or some other time during the day. Does that make sense? But again, it's not just like
on Eurafrica.
Okay, well, we can put that as a next step, which would be to schedule the Eurafrica. Other topics, next steps to schedule Eurafrica main weekly session. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay.
And you guys can start thinking of when you want to do that, so you have the proposal and you just get it done. But right now is not a good time to schedule the Eurafrica session.
So you mean we need to have a main session on Eurafrica, then that is why I'll be allowed to do my weekly buddy team?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
We are 2 minutes ahead on our time set.
Awesome, thank you, Asif. All right.
Okay.
So let's wrap
All
up.
right. Let's move to the next topic. Recording option and a policy. I think we have an option there. You can spend 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, this should go really quick.
Okay, go on.
This should just be really, really fast. I just wanted to remind everybody at the recording options that we have a policy and a process for this. And for the recording of the YouTube sessions, the goal is to centralize all the YouTube videos within approved accounts. And the account that you need to do, this is step 2, to make sure you're on the YouTube account, you need to let, Jay, Abdul, know that you want to be put on it, so that you want to do video recording, and then you'll be able to do that. So this step is very important to do, so that, yes, Steve?
I found the thing that you wanted from the Atlantic. What do you want me to do with it?
Oh, I got it already. I think you got it a long time ago.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. We have it. We're good. Thank you for his key to finding it.
Nobody ever put it on the Master's Prison Doc, which is, annoying, because that's the first place I went. But I found it in the session doc. Okay.
Great. Yeah, and someone linked it to the into the notes, right? It's linked in the notes. So, does anyone have a question about step 2 in getting on the YouTube account for the recordings? Okay, I think we're good then. So just make sure, like, you can't just like use your own personal account. Basically you need to use one of the FQN Unity Network YouTube channel accounts, so that we can centralize all the videos into 1 or 2 places.
I'm recording using my account. Is that not good?
That's not good. Yeah. So you need to get put on the Global FQN Community Network YouTube channel, so that we can centralize all of the videos. It's just that we don't need like for the official videos that the internal staff is coordinating. They shouldn't be like all over the place on random personal YouTube accounts. That makes sense? Just like our docs. It's just the same thing with our docs and everything, right? So I mean, if we're gonna have, it's just like the Hangout channels. If we want to have 5 simultaneous YouTube recordings streaming live at the same time, we're gonna need 5 YouTube accounts set up, 2 channels. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Coolio. But I think right now, we don't need more than like 3. I mean, 3 is a lot already. So coolio, or more, right? All right. So let's and eventually we could even make them for each team and sessions and stuff like that. So All right. Any other questions on the recordings? So the bottom line is basically just it's exactly the same policy as our documents. That we don't make videos on our personal individual accounts. We make them on shared YouTube channels, right? And it doesn't mean no one can create their own video recording. It can't be an official, FQN Community Network recording if it's on some random individual channel. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right.
Okay.
So I think
anything else? I think we can move on, or if there's still anything else.
Cool. All right. So let's move on. We're going to go into the personnel policies here. I'm going to facilitate this section because there is a lot. And let's start with our HR rankings. And whoever's doing timekeeping, definitely keep reminding us on the 5-minute mark. We can do as much as we can.
Yeah, I'm onto it.
So right now we're working with the July-August HR rankings. And I think there was like 4 or 5 people that were supposed to have updated them, but it never got updated. So it's just, there's not that much that I can do to get them updated. So let's just start with who was supposed to do the HR rankings and who's going to do it. So this would be the responsibility.
We are on that before with the Zulu, but you are not done.
Well, did you guys finish a single one for today? Did anyone do?
No, we just begin on Albina, linking the document, Albina, Steve, and Thomas. Then we leave it there because the session was beginning before we end up.
And just so you guys know, like these documents are supposed to be personnel profiles. Good. Okay.
Okay. Not main hang. We just link main hangout.
Nope.
I mean main document. Sorry.
Nope. Personnel profiles.
Okay.
This is all personnel profile information. It's like the pay.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, it's too bad that we don't have that done because I was hoping that we would. I think we asked like a lot to update the personnel profile, the personnel rankings, and it just never happens very often. So let's prioritize that. So who wants to help out with the personnel rankings, and then who wants to do the HR ranking? And we know that for the election rankings, we have James working on that.
And I'll work on that with James.
James and Steve. And
I will just work on HR ranking.
Lucy.
I will be with Lucy.
Anybody else on the personnel rankings, HR rankings? And the only other one is...
Hello, Jay.
Who's that?
James. I can assist with the personnel ranking.
Okay, James is going to help out as well. There's one other one, which is client hours. So this is contribution rankings.
Boleh mo kaning kon bino? Client hours bino? Limot mo kanina.
What did you say, Benji? I think Benji just...
Contribution rankings. I can do
okay.
Client hours.
Benji, great. All right, so let's make sure that happens. Remember, these are responsibilities. These are not tasks. They need to be continually updated, and you're constantly checking to make sure that they're updated. Right? It's very different than a task. It's a responsibility. So we might even want to create a verification spreadsheet for personnel rankings. Make sure it's all done.
Jay, I want to help James for personal ranking as well, if you allow.
No, anybody can sign up and help out. All right. So let's move on from this. So now we're going to go over is basically the Sonic team rankings. Sonic team rankings. Unfortunately, they're old because we don't have the updated version, which is what I was hoping to have. So if somebody right now could do a Asif, that would be great. Maybe we could even do that together real quick, because I really want to make sure Asif is in here. So Asif, do you remember your ideal weekly time and weekly monthly rate? And we don't, let's see if we can find Asif's personnel profile.
It is there on his main document.
Okay, we're gonna want to get it linked directly from the rankings, but
okay.
Let's see if there's anything here.
And Asif, I don't know his jurisdiction. I just put that 600. Is that the right thing, Asif?
Yes.
Okay.
So 200, 120, 120. 200, and I think it's the same time. Well, oh, this is part-time, 15 hours a week. So then we go 15, 120. This is pretty much the same, although this is obviously not right. So $2 for now. So anyways, I mean, anyone should be able to help with this. It's just updating the personnel rankings. These two didn't work for some reason. Let's try one more time. Anything missing? This is missing. All right, so there are your numbers and your score. And we can rank it. So Asif comes right above Benji, but above me. And then we have Steve. Okay, so let's get the Supersonic Team doc at the bottom here. We have the rankings. Asif. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste this stuff in here just for fun so that it's in our notes. And all of this should be the right color. Again, anyone can help out with getting this stuff all the right color. All right, but then I'm gonna come back over here. So there's 3 types of rankings, okay? I'll go over them briefly. HR budget rankings are for basically your work time. This is basically, you have 3 bosses, okay? One boss is basically oversees your work time. You know, it can tell you to stop at any time. Okay, so that's your HR boss, right? Then you have your contributions.
You're fading in and out.
Okay, you guys can hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So the elections and
They're
valuations.
They're too nice to say anything when it happens. I'm not.
Great. So the elections and valuations, this is someone who can speak on your behalf. They represent you. And they also can basically make executive decisions, including, you know, firing and hiring, etc. So anyways, there's three bosses. Everybody's got 3 bosses at all times. And these are the rankings. Are there any questions about the rankings?
Yeah, I want to know about contribution box. What is it about? So the contribution is the work we are contributing in our.
Yeah, so the more time you put in and the more you work on output and other types of work that needs to get done, the higher your contribution ranking will go. And that also includes client hours. Basically, if you want to get paid from the client's budget, you need to be working on client hours to be increasing in the contribution rankings at this point in time. If you don't want to be paid from the client budget, you don't have to do client hours. It's that simple. Any other questions? Does that answer your question, Asif?
Yes, Jay. Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
maybe for the sake of the new members, I'll assume that I don't know how the rankings work and ask how are people ranked based on what criteria.
Okay, well, like we were just talking about for the contribution, it's basically hours worked specifically for client hours, output, deliverables, like basically getting work done. If you're getting work done and you're achieving things, you're gonna go up in the contribution ranking. The elections is by vote. We hold regular voting. In fact, you could even put the link for the voting here, James. This would be a good time to announce the vote for Friday. Friday is the galactic elections. Everyone gets the vote.
Okay, I'm going to link it right now.
Yeah, the HR budget ranking is done based on a jurisdiction and pay. So basically, it relates your jurisdiction and all your different pay rates in relationship to everybody else, so that it's like a fair ranking. Regardless of where you are in the world. And it's basically, people who are willing to, do the work and support the organization and also not destroy our budget, have higher ranking. Because our budget...
Work long hours. If you want to work long hours and be broke, then you get an HR ranking. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, but it's a little different than that. It works out like the less hours you actually work with a reduced budget, it will actually get you higher in the rankings than working lots of hours with high budgets. So or even lots of hours with low budgets. So anyways, it all balances out. Let's ask a question here. But the HR ranking, the HR board makes the final decisions on the budget, right? So it's a very important decision making, and all of our bosses is Heather. Heather is the primary boss for all of us, and she basically checks in quarterly. So we kind of get free reign once a quarter. She checks in and basically put down the hammer if we're not doing a good job. So yeah. It's important to know that we have accountability and that there are people who are checking on us. So the question would be, in a Sonic session, if me and Steve are not around, who is in charge? Anybody can answer this.
Can we give our recommendations?
I'm not going to answer this. I know the answer. But,
Does it?
Yeah.
If you and Steve are not in the session, I think for me, personally, what I think the person with the highest independence level is the one who can be in charge. That's my personal.
Yeah. So it's a very good context, right? So we're gonna. This is the next thing on our topic list. So if we go up to our policy, the next topic is independence levels. Okay, and so it is a very good context about independence levels and how independence levels work, and the relationship of independence levels to
that's good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you You can get it back, or we'll take it.
Yeah, let's just give him a minute.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
I hate Wi-Fi and internet. I just switched. In other settings, right? So let's say you get to independence level 4 and you can go set up your own buddy team session. That's great that you go set up that buddy team session, but that doesn't mean you're getting work done. So somebody can come in who's a higher ranking than you, and even though you set up your own session, and if you're not doing work, you're still accountable to them and they can still tell you that you have to stop. So even if you're independent, you can't just go off and not do work. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, so basically the answer is no. The independence level, it doesn't have to do with who's in charge. It only has to do with how independent you are as an individual and how organized you are. And it certainly is related because people who are getting higher independence levels should be contributing more and are active more, but it's not a direct associate at this time, but that might change. You know, we might turn the independence levels into rankings, but right now they aren't rankings. So let's go back to does that answer your question, James?
Yeah, that answers my question.
Okay, and we're gonna talk about independence levels next, as soon as we're done with HR ranking. So again, the question is, if me and Steve are not around, who is in charge?
I think the members can decide.
What? Did you say that you think that whoever shows up gets to decide?
No, I just said maybe we can decide as a team now. We see who will
No, it
be.
has to do with the ranking.
No, like we decide based on every individual's involvement. So every individual on how they choose their budget, every individual on how much they contribute, and every individual on how they vote determines the rankings. So the question is, based on the rankings, if me and Steve are not around, who is in charge? And the current rankings, although these will be updated.
Well, I think that. Sorry.
Can you guys see my screen or what?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Abdul will be the next person after you and Steve based on the ranking.
Okay, that's a good one. So then there's one more on the, so Abdul, for the contribution and the election, Abdul is the next in line. So that is a good answer, James. And then what about for the HR budget ranking?
For the HR, the next one is Asif, but we are yet to update that one, so it might change the future.
Yes, but it's still updated. We just spent 5 minutes updating it, so we got Asif updated. See, so here's
okay,
Asif.
so the next one in line.
Yeah, for the HR.
Okay.
But we haven't put Asif into either the contribution or the election yet, but he will be there. So the answer is clear, right? The answer is when Steve and Jay are not around, Abdul and Asif are in charge. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anyone not understand?
Yes.
So additionally, it's very important to mention, this is part of why the independence levels have nothing to do with the ranking, right? The highest ranking is the public. We are all publicly accountable. Let me write that down. We are all publicly accountable. Right? So if somebody in the public gets involved, they are automatically the ranked highest. We are all servants and workers and staff for the public, for the organizations and humanity itself. That is how the rankings is set up. So the levels only are about, you know, getting more independence as paid staff. If you're the public and you're getting involved, you're automatically ranked higher than all of us. We are here to do the work that the public tells us to do. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So the next question would be, if you have a buddy team, let's just choose a random buddy team like, how about Abdul, Lucy, and Ulysses. So if you have Abdul, Lucy, and Ulysses, who is in charge?
For me, Abdul is still in charge because he's ranked higher than, or he's ranked higher on elections, contribution, and HR budget.
Yes.
Above the rest of the members.
Exactly. So every single buddy team, when you're supposed to be getting work done, there is still a ranking within every single buddy team, every single session. The ranking never goes away. The only place where the ranking does actually kind of go away is in this type of session. When we all meet as a team, we're all equal. We all have equal votes, and we're not getting work done. We're actually talking, and we all have equal voice. And it's participatory democracy. And the rankings are slightly different than the work rankings, but basically it's pretty much, you know, related to the elections. So let's say Abdul wasn't there, then who would be in charge with just Lucy and Ulysses? Who would be in charge then?
That would be Lucy.
Not necessarily. Just because on the contribution ranking we have Ulysses higher, but I think this is old. So I'm assuming it would be Lucy if we re-rank this. But basically in this particular scenario, Ulysses would be in charge of what is going to be worked on, right? Obviously, Ulysses would probably default to Lucy if Lucy knows more about what's going on, right? If he was smart. But this obviously changes the more people get involved and are active. And obviously Ulysses hasn't been as active. Lucy should automatically go above Ulysses. Okay? So I think we're ready to move on. Any last questions on the HR rankings and the rankings overall?
That's all for Jane.
Cool. All right, so we're ready to go to independence levels.
Jane, before you go to the next topic,
yeah,
I would like to update everybody that the link to the global elections form has been linked to the document, so you can get it there.
This is the link to the global elections form. If anyone, you get to vote once between now and Friday, and this will be for the galactic elections. Everyone can vote.
I think that means you need to add the new members there also. We have Albina.
Yeah, they should all be there.
Okay.
Let's double check. So we got Nelly, Anacleta, Andrine, Mel, Jay, Julie, Abdul, Albina, Steve, Isaac, James, Tully, Thomas, Asif, Heather, Ulysses, Jorge, Lucy, Zilu, Benji. Anyone missing?
Okay. No.
Cool. All right. And just so you know, every time you open it, it's going to randomly put all the people in different order. And that includes the question of your name. So wherever that is, you just put your name so we know who voted. It is technically optional to put your name. You can vote anonymously. If you want to vote anonymously, it's good to get a vote code so you can prove that, you know, you actually voted, but, you know, anyone can vote. All right, I think we're ready to move on to the independence levels.
So,
right. So I think the bottom line here is the proposal is basically for, we might need to do evaluations first. Let's go ahead and open up. All right, I think we're just going to do all of this all at once because I think that's the best and only way to really do this correctly. Okay, so here are the independence levels. We want to do some evaluations. We want to look at Julie. We want to look at Benji. And we want to look at Lucy. Is there anyone else anyone wants to look at in terms of evaluations and the independence levels? Okay, so we're going to do these three. And I know, Lucy, that it's like, I mean, we're not trying to single you out or anything. It's just like this was your request to do it. And so you're just a good example. And, you know, it's part of the whole picture that we're trying to paint here in terms of moving forward in a healthy and constructive way. So I'm going to go through all of this stuff and we're just going to address it all together. So give me like 5 minutes here, okay? The first thing that I want to note here is that in the evaluations, we would say that Julie, you know, has been around for like 2 to 3 months, you know, gotten, you know, very little output. Has had difficulty in communications. You know, we're also basically leaning towards the direction that, oh, okay, that worked. Good. That one as well. We're also leaning the direction for Julie and Benji, right? That, you know, although you guys speak English, it's not the best English in the world. We're going to get into that a lot, right? There's a lot of people who are not going to be speaking the best English in the world. So we have Globish / Filipino and difficulty communications and also culture and doing like lots of training, not much results, okay? Benji's a little different. Benji's only been involved for a few weeks. He, you know, hasn't worked much at all. There's still some difficulty in communications and culture. We have lots of, you know, we do have the Globus and Filipino, but he's, you know, pretty much new. Benji's pretty much new. And it's good to note that it's Julie and Benji. Benji are, you know, a couple. Right, so this is important to note, and everybody understands that because it affects everything. So new worker. Lucy has been involved for 3 months or more. Lucy has gotten a lot done, lots of output. You know, taken on a lot of responsibilities. Currently level 4. Benji is currently level 3. Currently level 3, proposed for level 2. High rankings, right? Low rankings. And election, right? Taking on leadership and facilitation roles, very active in meetings. Okay, so I think that's pretty much a reasonable evaluation critique. Does anyone have anything to add in terms of the evaluations for Julie, Benji, and Lucy that I left out?
my only thing that I would like to add, and this is not a criticism in any way, shape, or form. Lucy is a lot more assertive than Benji and Julie, and you know, even in the meeting tonight when he was trying to do a Jiller, she jumps in real fast, and sometimes that can be taken as, you know, not in a good way. You need to lay back a little bit. She needs to lay back a little bit and let people. Nobody's going to learn if she jumps in and wants to do it all the time. She has to just give people their space to learn.
Cool. So that would be what we would call feedback, right? So that's a feedback and just encouraging Lucy to step back as needed. It would be a little less connected from just direct professional evaluation, but just as important. Any other things that anyone else wants to add to the evaluations before we go on?
I think.
Yes, James?
I think I would love to see my evaluation, or I would love to be evaluated.
Okay. Does anyone else want to second that? I mean, obviously we can't evaluate everybody, so if we do James, we could do that real quick as a group, but we don't really have time to do everybody. So does anyone want to second doing James before we do it? If no one else wants to second it, then I would propose that we just don't do that and move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay, so James, we will evaluate you. Like, everybody should be doing evaluations. It's part of our processes.
Send a private message.
Yeah.
So, yes, I think because James said I haven't evaluated me yet. We're trying to treat people that have a problem. Change is far from a problem. It works with everybody well.
Yeah, well, one of the goals here is to not think about anyone being a problem. It's just about doing the professional steps and going through these. This is part of our professional systems, is evaluation. Can somebody mute? It's getting a little loud again. Okay, so if everyone can mute, it'll be good. But anyways, anyone can do general evaluations. We're going to be improving our evaluation systems. We need someone to step up and help with the evaluation processes. So this is a responsibility to help with evaluations if anyone wants to jump up. That also will become a client responsibility as well. Going once, going twice. Okay, so we're not going to evaluate you right now, James, but anybody can evaluate James by clicking on this button, and you would just write James's name in, you give him a general score, and you give him feedback. This is the difference between evaluations and feedback and elections. With elections, you don't give feedback. When you're evaluating someone, you give feedback. Okay, so moving on. So basically, the bottom line here is that, you know, we have clear proposals. One is that, you know, Julie and Benji would be temporarily on level 2, right? That's an ongoing proposal. And I would adjust this by saying that simply there would need to be one person present that is higher ranked than Julie or Benji in all rankings. So basically the idea of their level 2 would be that as long as there's one person available who's ranked higher than them, they could work. If there's nobody ranked higher than them who is present in the relationship of all the 3 rankings, then they shouldn't be working. That's the proposal that I would do. But let's talk more about this stuff in terms of the effects. So no, we won't mention that. But this is more important. So what do you do when somebody is acting out? Or not acting out, but is not working? What to do if someone isn't working? Okay. let's cover this, and then we'll go back to the proposals later and see where we're at on that, because it's just, we want to have pretty clear on all this stuff. Wednesday. All right, and this is also a good question, is what not to do. What not to do, right? The first thing we don't do is we do not engage. Do not engage. If somebody is not being professional, they're not getting work done, you know, not being professional, not getting work done, we have ways of dealing with that, right? So you don't need to engage upon it in the moment. Right? The first thing is that whoever is in charge can ask them to stop working. Period. Okay, and this would be the HR, the HR ranking. Is there any questions about this particular step?
So it's understandable.
All right.
Thank you.
So then the next one would be basically you also have the independence levels, right? So the highest level person can address the issue and help out. You know, so you can ask for help. You can do an evaluation. You know, and here's the evaluation form, and that will immediately address and, you know, make sure that they, you know, they know we need to improve the evaluation processes. But basically, you can evaluate someone and tell them and say that there's a problem. You can also you can vote in the elections, right? And you can bring it up as a topic. Okay, so these are all ways of addressing if someone's not doing work without needing to engage upon it, right? So are there any other suggestions of what to do if somebody's not working or meeting expectations? Because I know this is a very incomplete list. This is just off the top of my head, a couple things.
I have a question. Jane.
Yeah.
Or I mean suggestion. If somebody is not working, maybe we could ask him or her, because maybe she doesn't know her task, or maybe she need an assistance, or he or need an assistance, so that he can work on his or her task.
Jay, can you answer this?
Answer what?
Answer.
Oh yeah, I will.
Maybe she.
Yeah, I'll answer right now for sure.
No, I'll answer it.
The first. Okay, I'll let you do it, Stussy, but I'm just going to mention here that the person who's the highest independence level would by default like have more information for some of the work, right? So might be able to help with that. Right? So Steve, go for it.
All right. You know, number one, don't take it as a personal fight that anybody from there whether you put down. Okay? The purpose we're here to is get work done.
Exactly.
People who are level 3 and above have to be able to work without direct supervision of every single thing they do. Anybody who can't work without direct supervision of every single thing they do, and you know, you show you once, twice, 3 times, if you still have to come back and ask, then that person, until they can get to that point, needs to understand that they're going to go down to level 2. It's not personal. People have different speeds of picking things up. Some people pick things up the first time they see it. Some people need more time. But we can't have buddy teams where the people can't get their work accomplished, because Jay and I and everyone here is accountable to Heather and to our client and to the public. So it isn't a question of whether we like you, don't like someone, whatever. But can you get the work done? on your own with after you've been shown once or twice, can you get the work done? If you can't, then you simply can't be level 3 because we expect level 3s to get the work done.
Yeah, so I love that what you're saying. It's like basically our expectations for workers is to get work done, right? People need to be able to work without direct supervision for every single thing they do. It's basically like there's a couple things. One is you can always watch videos, video training, right? But it makes sense that you would ask us, tell us what responsibilities you're interested in so that we can send you to the right videos, right? Another expectation of workers is to never ask, what should I do? Because we have a list of 300 answers, okay? So our answer will always be, there is a list of 300 responsibilities and thousands of tasks for you to do. Choose one, right? Figure out how to do it. Organize it. You don't even have to know how to do the task. You can still organize it. Responsibility organizing. Again, with responsibility organizing, you do not need to know how to do anything. You just organize it so that somebody else can do it. What is our highest purpose of the role that we all have, that we're all getting paid for? This was the same question that we asked yesterday that took us like 20 minutes to answer. So can someone just repeat the answer, please? What are we all paying everybody for? What is the expectation of the work?
To produce output, boys and girls.
To make the work done.
No, we already have that. Get work done.
Jerry?
Yeah.
For me, I think that for us for all of us, we are here to assist you in getting to help you accomplish all the tasks that you have. Because we are built around your tasks. With the whole global team and Personic is built around what you normally do on a daily basis. So for us, it's just to help you get the tasks accomplished.
Yeah, and it's not just me, it's specifically the overall priorities, right? The overall priorities is the list of things that we are behind on and that are just urgent, need to get done as soon as possible. They're so important that they need to get done before we can train people. Okay, so it's so important and urgent that we can't do it until, that we can't train people until they get done. Sometimes training is more important than other things, but usually it's a specific individual training for that specific type of task that needs to get done because I couldn't do it on my own. But the point is that it's all temporary. Once everybody gets trained and everything moves forward, eventually we can hand off all the responsibilities I'm doing so that it's not dependent on me. But right now, we're still in this stuck stage where if I don't complete the tasks, no one's getting paid, right? And very soon, over time, more and more things will get handed off from me, and in X number of months, this won't be the overall purpose anymore. We'll be getting paid in different ways, and we don't need to worry about it. So, but for now, everybody's getting paid. This is the highest goal. This also means that if you are distracting Jay from getting the overall priorities done, then that is the worst thing you can be doing. Right? So it's like if you can't help with the overall priorities, you find something else to do.
No one here can say there aren't always tasks that have to be done. There are always priorities that have to be taken care of. There's never not any work. I mean, you can always find something to do.
And you can always watch training videos. We have probably 500 hours of training videos.
If you can find nothing else to do, watch the training videos so that the next time you will be able to do something. You know.
So again, if you can't do work, then you can't work. If there's nothing you can do, then you can't work. And so it's really that simple, right? So if no one can train you, right? And that's part of why we have buddy teams. Like as a buddy team, 2 people can figure out a solution better than by yourself. So you can always work together as a buddy team and figure out the impossible. All right, so any other expectations for workers? What are workers expected to do? Well, let's do the obvious ones. To act professionally and courteous. To treat each other as we would want to be treated ourselves. Okay, so that's an obvious one. Any other expectations for workers? Okay. Obviously, understanding accountability. Understanding accountability. All right, so let's go back to this. What if someone is not meeting the expectations? What do? They're not being professional. They're not getting any work done. What do you do? Whoever's in charge can ask them to stop working. That would be the HR ranked person. Right? Ask for help, independence levels, right? They might be able to help out, do some advising or some training. You can evaluate that person. You can vote for that person, right? Usually you can document the problem. Right? Maybe send a message to the Quintent senior manager. You know, send a message to Jay or Steve or Asif or Abdul. Right? Bring it up in a topic session. We can all address it as a team. Are there any other ideas that people have for what to do if somebody's not meeting the expectations and is not doing that, right? Here you could propose to reduce their level. To propose a temporary reduction in hours. Whoever's in charge, right, can ask someone to leave for the day. Right? If it's a problem again, the next problem, it would be, you know, leave for 2 days. And, you know, if it continues to be a problem, it would be like, you know, the rest of the week. And then at that point, it becomes a team problem, and you might think of a higher temporary reduction in hours. So any other ideas on what to do if someone's not meeting expectations and is not working or causing problems?
There is one simple one that nobody's ever said. Yeah. And I don't know if Jay agrees or not, but I'll say it anyway. If you see somebody having a problem getting the work done, you could ask them if they'd like them to show you how to do it. If you see them having a problem doing something that you know how to do, you could offer to show it to them so that they can do it themselves. Yes, that might take a little bit of time, but that also is a possibility, you know.
So this would be show them how to do the work better.
Yep.
In a nice way, of course.
Yes, of course. I always do things in a nice way.
Great. Any other ideas for what to do if someone's not meeting expectations? I think we're ready to move on. We have this scheduled for 5 to 10 minutes, so I think we're good. Let's talk about what not to do, because I think this is really important. So we want to not engage, So we don't want to, you know, basically push the issue, right? We don't want to get personal, right? So, you know, don't like, you know, don't evaluate the individual, evaluate the work of the person. That makes sense? You don't want to go after their personality. You know, do your best not to go after their personality, just their work. That's how you say professional. Raise your voice. People should not be raising their voice or yelling. Are there any other ideas of what not to do?
Jay?
Yes, James?
I think one of the things we are not supposed to do is to use what I would call a vulgar language or a strong language, because it's not good. It's not something which is professional.
Yeah, so another way to say it is don't use violent language. Right? This also says don't use in a language you're not sure is appropriate because of our cultural differences. So something could be totally fine in one culture and is not fine in another. We're dealing with 1,000 cultures across the world. So, Steve.
Please, I have a real simple one. Remember that some of us, and Jay said this before, speak English better than others, and just have a little patience with each other. Don't, you know, take personal affront what somebody says. Think about what your response is going to be. Don't jump the gun to think they're saying something negative when they might not be. We've had some problems here that I honestly think are more cultural and lingual than they are anything else. And we are going to be, as we expand and have every quintet going, we're going to have people from all over the world. We're going to have people of different races, different ethnicities, different religions, different backgrounds, and we have to work together as a team. If we can't, then those people who can't, you know, will have to worry, you know, take that into consideration at that time. But assume that just because you feel some way, that somebody said makes you feel some way, that's the way they meant to make you feel. Don't think that because somebody, you know, sent a message that you don't like, that it was sent in a way that was necessarily meant to be negative, because we all come from different cultures. Me and Jay live in America. Our culture is much different than all of the rest of you. I live on one side of America, Jay lives on the other. Our culture is almost exactly the same. But my culture is nothing like James or Benji, although I do understand, you know, the Filipino culture a little better since I've been engaged to one for Filipino woman for 2 years. But our culture still is different. We're all different, and we have to make our differences work for us, not against us.
Yeah, another thing I think that gives up for what to do if someone isn't meeting expectations. Show them how to do something and work better, but we could also be like, you know, not everybody's good at everything, right? You can give them a different task or an easier task, right? Or responsibility, right? So if they don't know how to do one thing and they don't, and you know, it's like assign them to do something else. If they can't do that, then tell them to stop. And then like he was saying, like give people the benefit of the doubt. It could be a misunderstanding or a cultural difference. That we're all at different places of the world. Some people are different and need more time, need more support. Yeah. And then also we want to people remember that some people don't speak English better than others, not to jump to the gun. If you think someone's saying something negative, lots of problems are cultural and vocabulary misunderstandings. Does that capture what you were saying, Steve? Anything else anyone else wants to add into what not to do?
I think I'm good.
Okay. All right, so I think we're ready to move on here. I'm thankful that everybody's here listening to this. This is all very, very important stuff. So all we have left here is we have reviewing the policy decisions that we made from before. We want to double check on, we already did this. And we want to go over meeting rules and standing rules and the concept of acting out, so everybody understands that. And then we're going to go back to the proposals, make sure we address the proposals, and then I think we're done. So we could technically get through the rest of this in like 10 minutes, and then we can check in on where we're at and how we want to move forward with the some of the conflict evolution stuff. Okay, so let's go to the policies from before. Oh wait, I have this open over here, I think. Is it? Yeah, right here. All right, so options for moving forward. All right, so what we said is that final warning. Okay, so what we decided is that this is a final warning. Okay. Everyone is now warned that if the issues continue, specifically, quote, engagement, right? And what you're supposed to do is not engage. Do not engage. Why do we not engage?
Because when we engage, we open a room for more, I don't know how I can put it.
No.
We open like a forum for more.
No.
Negative.
No, that's not the reason at all. The reason why we don't engage is only professional.
It will escalate the situation.
No, it might actually de-escalate it. You never know. But the reason why we don't engage is very, very simple, and it's only professional. Only professional, because if you engage, you're not getting work done. By definition, engaging within an issue and a conflict, right? By definition, it is taking away from the ability of the group to work. It doesn't mean it doesn't need to be addressed, right? So we want to make sure that the vocabulary is very different, right? Engaging means like in the moment, and it could potentially lead to escalation, potential escalation. What we do want to do is yes to address. We want to address the issues in the way that is set up above, right? Which is, what's that section right here? So here's how you address the issues. What to do if somebody is not meeting expectations and is not working well. Okay. All right. So basically we have a very clear process. It's very professional. It has to do with the work. And let's see what else there was. So if somebody was removed, it would be temporary for 2 months. So note here, if someone was actually removed, it would be for 2 months, basically suspension. And then they would redo their budget proposal, and then they would come back in however they needed to, right? So that's the maximum that we would be taking someone out of the budget. And we're having a warning for everybody. We're emphasizing Benji because he was the newest at that time, but it's everybody. We're gonna get to this in a second.
the main thing is everybody needs to be respectful to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, no, if you have a problem, message Jay, message me, message, if it's the team leaders involved, message, one of us or something. But don't start sniping at each other and each other things, whoever it is. Just, hold it until the meeting. You have to bring it up as a topic of the meeting. Just not then and there. Don't use Skype as a personal weapon. That's why one of the reasons we want to get off of Skype. We have to stop all this stuff.
Yeah, no Skype messaging of issues. I know we've talked about this.
This team uses Skype more than any other team.
Uh-huh.
I mean, in the Andromeda, the only thing I Skype is, guys, I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to go on my trip. I won't be there today. During the session, we don't use Skype at all. Not for anything. You have Hangouts has a message. You would send a message on Hangouts if you want to send a message to the team. Okay, you could all verbally talk to each other on Hangouts. There is absolutely no reason for the amount of Skype use that the Sonic team has. I understand the polite good nights to each other. That's fine, but that's after work, basically. During the session, there is never any reason. There's no reason. I keep seeing the link to your buddy teams, and your link to your main sessions on Skype. Everyone here is on the Hangout. The link is through the Hangout. Stop using Skype. It is not publicly accessible. Therefore, it is not publicly accountable.
So we don't have an alternative to Skype right now. So I mean, we're using Skype. We will have an alternative soon. It's not the top priority, but just only Skype for professional reasons, for like links. Use the Hangout link as well, and the Hangout chat. But it's just like, as long as it's professional, it's fine. It's not a place for doing issues. Everything with the Skype has improved dramatically. Right, Steve? Like, when these problems are going on, there was 10 million times more Skype than there is now. So things are much, much better. We're very impressed.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes, it
much better. Okay, so that's all we decided. If you notice that it's although it's a final warning that particular set of engagements, all that stuff needed to stop, and we needed to be focusing on the work. Generally speaking, it's very broad. Any issue would still come back to the team vote, right? So any issue would always come back for a democratic team vote. Okay, any last questions on what was decided by the previous decision? Okay, so I think we're ready to move on from that. So let's just cover really briefly meeting rules and standing rules and acting out. And then we can go into some of the conflict evolution processes, and then we can address the proposals. Let's copy and paste the proposals from up here. So meeting rules and standing rules. Okay, so basically, we all know that we have meeting and session positions. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
yes, we're still here.
Okay. It was all quiet, which is a good thing. So everyone should definitely mute, but I just wanted to make sure it was quiet on a good reason. All right. So
no problem.
Yeah. So standing rules are extremely important. Meeting session processes are pretty clear. Everybody knows more or less how our sessions function. Everyone knows more or less how buddy teams function, although buddy teams can get more involved, right? So there's two other types of systems that we use, two other types, right? There is a multi group standing rules. And the reason we call them standing rules is that just like the official term for rules that oversee a whole governance system of decision making. So we're going to go through those. There's also strategic and long term. It's basically planning processes, right? And these would be standing rules as well. So there's two types of standing rules. This is within a group, within a single group, and this is between a group, right? It's all part of our standing rules, right? So standing rules are like the official rules of conduct. One component of the standing rules is the manipulation of the consensus and decision-making process. So we make decisions together, and it's always possible to manipulate decisions. In fact, we actually organize our systems to be corrupted and to be manipulated. Okay, so we actually plan within our decentralized distributed systems that every single organization and structure that we create will eventually be corrupted. And I'm not going to talk about why and how that all works right now, but basically it's good to note that, you know, manipulation is a healthy part of the process, and it's expected. It's like a natural process, but it's important to note that it's bad, right? So it's very bad, and there are specific and clear rules about manipulating decision-making processes. It's particularly important within the consensus process. We are a consensus-based network. We strive to consensus, but anything majority vote is automatic. So we strive for consensus, even though we have a majority system, majority and director system. So basically, to finish up here, acting out is one of, you know, a dozen different types of manipulative processes within meetings. Acting out, the easiest way to describe acting out is basically like, you know, anything that distracts or takes away power from others. So this can be, you know, talking on the phone, you know, background noise, and not muting. Right? So if you purposely or mistakenly didn't mute and it created a whole bunch of noise and people can't think or interact, that would be acting out, right? Another context of acting out would be, you know, sleeping. If you're sleeping in a meeting, it doesn't matter that you're not interacting, you're taking away from the energy of the group and the focus, right? So anything that takes away focus. And then the most important in this particular situation is emotional outbursts. Okay, so it's not just raising your voice, it's about the emotion behind the voice, right? It's the emotion and pleading behind the voice, right? And it's a natural process, right? This is natural, and every person will always have some moment of, you know, emotional, either pain, difficulty, et cetera, right? And it's also a natural process of expression, right? We use expression, we use emotion to express ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with emotions, but when emotions are combined with decision making, it is a direct manipulation of the process.
I wanted to stress that we're not talking about like doing check-ins. If you get emotional doing check-ins, when I had problems with my fiance's visa, I was very emotional, almost in tears during the check-in. We're not talking about it now. We're talking about doing work time and, you know, check-in and things like that. It's for things like that a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
And it's really just specific. It's specific in terms of the decision making, you know? And it's not like, it's impossible to completely take out emotion from everything, right? So as you can see, acting out happens all the time. For example, background noise and not muting your phone. I mean, it happens all the time. Like acting out is a very normal thing, right? People are if you're not actively trying to prevent manipulation, manipulation will automatically happen, right? Because it's a natural process. So it's really about the decision making, and it's about calling it out. So the only thing I want to mention here is that the reason why emotions combined with the process is an issue is because if you are the best emotional speaker, would always win, right? Emotions are very powerful, right? And for example, you know, if someone's crying, you know, someone is crying, right? You know, please don't, ... right? How do you vote yes or no when someone in front of you is breaking down and crying? You can't, it's impossible to rationally and professionally address the issue and make a decision. This is also part of why groups many times make decisions in private and also have people who have, quote, conflict of interest leave the room. So not only do they have to not engage in the session, but they actually have to leave the room if they have a conflict of interest, because they could manipulate the process simply by being present. You know, you don't even have to talk, right? It's very important to understand that, you know, no talking is needed to be emotional or manipulate a voting process. So anyways, I just want to make sure it's really clear that what we're asking for people to do is to not engage, to talk clearly and professionally, slowly, you know, to address all of the whole spectrum of everything going on and allow the group as a team to make the best decision with the information available always. Any questions about acting out and, you know, emotional aspects of the work and what's going on? Cool. So I think we're good on that. You know, it's you know, obviously, you know, people who have issues, and we're going to talk about conflict resolution right now. It can be very difficult not to be emotional, right? And so there's nothing wrong with having emotion. We want people to be themselves. And some people are just naturally more emotional than other people. But it's just important to acknowledge that, you know, for example, when Lucy like gets very intense in a meeting, it takes away everyone else's power, and that it's basically like we have to do what Lucy needs, right? And sometimes that's what needs to happen. If someone's emotional, we all need to stop. We all need to focus on the person who's having the emotion and address it, because we're all together, right? So it is a healthy part of the group dynamics, but it is also, it's impossible to professionally and neutrally address decisions in that atmosphere. So I think we're ready to move on. So let's talk really quickly about the conflict evolution process. So conflict evolution process is not a decision-making process. There are no decisions that are made on it. It's a policy, right? This is a policy. Our policy basically states that conflict is a dual relationship. In other words, it takes two to tango. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's perfectly fine for that to happen. And basically, we engage in the evolution process because working through our relationships is a learning experience. And our goal is to be open and evolve, right? So it's like evolving through the process of addressing our relationships, okay? And this includes, our conflict evolution process includes conflict mediation. It includes conflict resolution. It includes requests that can be turned into proposals that then go back to the professional side of decision making with the team, right? And then also involves non-violent communication. Right? But the key thing to understand here is that conflict evolution always, the process always happens outside of regularly scheduled meetings. Are there any questions about the conflict evolution process?
I don't have any.
No. I don't have any.
Okay, it's not. You have a question?
No more questions.
Okay, I'll just add that and say that you know, it's technically never ending, but can always have a stop time. All right, so let's go on to the proposals.
Yes, because after that I'm gonna go. Of course, I have still another hour's worth of work to do, getting ready, and then I have to be on a plane in 9-10 hours. So let's get on to proposals.
Cool. All right, so one proposal is basically, you know, that Lucy does not need to work with Julie or Benji. Right, so that's the proposal that obviously Lucy has brought up. And then in addition to that, there is the concept of like temporary goal of having separate buddy teams when possible. Okay, so we have two sets of proposals. One is about like the work structure, and then the others is about the group and team conduct moving forward. And then also we already have, like, we keep the existing decisions from before. And I'll also add that what would we say it? Non-biased, independent, neutral teams have authority. Okay, so the Sonic team, if there's conflict within the Sonic team, we don't get final decision-making authority over the decision of the team. Does that make sense?
Of course, yeah.
So it goes to like Andromeda team, Andromeda, or you know, Atlantic, etc. Okay. So
Or Pacific or whoever.
are there any objections of keeping the existing decisions from before? So I don't see any hearing objections. No objections.
Consensus.
Agreement. All right. So then I want to go to this proposal this is the team proposal on team levels. So basically, we're proposing that Julie and Benji would be temporary on level 2. This will help with some of this temporary stuff as well, because if Julie and Benji must have someone present that's higher ranked than they are, that would automatically mean that there must be someone else there, you know, besides, for example, just Lucy or whatever. So that'll help create more buffer. Additionally, it'll mean that, you know, Julie and Benji will need more direct one-on-one support and work. And there'll also be less hours, right? This is just by definition, this equates to less hours, right?
Might be, yes.
Yeah. So, and just to remind ourselves here in the professional situation that we're in, right? Like, this relates to like some of the language and cultural issues, the time, the ability to do the work, all of the things between the people involved with Julie and Benji. Okay, so it's just a professional decision, in my opinion. So let's see where we're at with this particular proposal. Again, the proposal is.
I just want to add one thing, and this goes for the whole team. Learning English in school and understanding English are not necessarily the same thing. Okay, you might be able to speak the language, but you don't understand the context and the nuance, and sometimes that's where the problem lies.
Yeah, actually, that does bring up a point, which I think is reasonable to go over briefly. So, for level 2, you need to have your main doc. And you basically need to be getting your availability schedule done. You need to have your proposal done, all right? And you need to have your communication.
When I have 5+, I gotta change that.
Nice. So, let's see if this grab a little place here for level 2. Yeah, so anyways, there's not a lot of things involved in level 2, but there are a few things that are necessary that we need to add in here. For example, just like, you know, having, you know, 1 to 2 responsibilities to do. You know, it's like you gotta have something to work on to do level 2, right? I mean, there's gotta be something. Okay. So is anyone not clear on the proposal? I'm going to read the proposal one time. The proposal is that Julie and Benji would be temporary to level 2 with the context that they would need to have one person present that is higher ranked than they are at all levels of rankings, in all 3 rankings. Is there any question about the proposal?
No.
Okay. So, are there any concerns about the proposal?
I would like to just put down maybe that it should be revisited on a regular basis if they can move back up to level 3, you know, on a monthly basis or such.
Okay, yeah, and I would say that under our policies, there's no timeline. Like, you know, one team could move someone to level, you know, 1 even, or even fire someone, and then another team the next day, or even that same day, could propose to bring them back up to level 5. You know, so it's like once you have multiple teams that are in conflict, then it would go to the global steering team and the global core team to decide. So it could be hours, it could be days, it could be weeks. So whenever someone wants to propose going back up to level 3, including Julie and Benji. Julie and Benji at any time can propose to go back to level 3 if this passes, right? So there's no guarantee it's going to pass. So are there any other concerns or questions?
For me, I have none.
That's all far, Jay.
Okay, so let's go ahead and vote.
And so far, Jay.
I think we should do a roll call vote on this. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, I think it's necessary.
So I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to vote a 6.5. Steve, you want to vote?
Yeah, I'll go yes. About a 5.5.
James.
I'm going to vote yes, and 5.5, the same as.
Let's go with Albina.
Mine is yes, 6.
All right, let's go to Benji.
Yes.
You have a number between 0 and 9?
6.
Steve. Asif, are you there? Abdul?
Abdul is not able to speak. He's on Skype.
All right, Zilu?
Yeah, and I'm in 6.5.
Thomas?
Yes, 6.
Okay, and Julie?
Yes, 5 days.
Okay, and then Lucy?
Yes.
Do you have a number? 5. Okay.
Do we have everybody?
I don't know. Do we have everybody? Asif, Abdul?
Asif, Abdul, are you there?
One thing that I just thought of is that technically speaking, we should do 2 separate proposals, one for Julie, one for Benji. But I think we're fine for now.
We're fine.
Let's see what we get. But I think the proposal passes. Does someone want to average it for me, or do you want me to do it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 5.7.
5.75.
Which is equal to a this would be what's called a positive extension. So it barely passes. So we should definitely review this very soon. Okay, so any other questions here? Also, because it's so close, we want to be very flexible with this. So just be flexible and concerned about that. Okay, so the next one that I want to address is this one right here. The work structure. Basically, we could do a straw poll between Lucy and Benji and Julie not working together and having more of a temporary goal. I think that probably would work ideally. Is anyone against that? So let's just make sure this is clear. Basically, option 1 is, we basically create a policy that Lucy does not have, that Lucy and Julie / Benji do not work together. Two is that we temporarily, support, creating separate buddy teams as possible, but Lucy does have to work professionally with Julie and Benji in the overtime when needed and overtime as
My only problem with the first one is that although I don't think I can remember when there were only 3 people in a Sonic session, if it was only the 3 of them there, and they can't work there, then nobody's working, because Lucy's not working alone, and if you can't work with Julie and Benji, they're level 2, they can't work alone, so then nobody would be working. That's what would happen. That's the outcome of that. If it was only the 3 of them there, nobody could work.
Yeah. So I would just say that for me, it's just like I actually think that Lucy's request. In saying that she can't work with Julie and Benji is very difficult, and it's like it's against many of the values that we have. Like, we need to be able to work professionally together between different cultures and to respect each other and understand that there are differences and difficulties. And also realizing that Julie is in many ways, a senior level, and Julie and Benji are much lower level than her, and so the expectation should be a lot less, and that there needs to be a dynamic there. So my vote is definitely for number 2. That I don't think that we should be getting in the habit of and it causes a huge problem. It's just like, how do you break up into buddy teams when you can't break up into buddy teams because of
which is what I just said,
Yeah. So, did you want to vote
go
as
with
well,
number 2.
Okay. All right. So let's go through it. Let's start from the bottom. Lucy, do you want to vote? Because we know you're interested in this. You're welcome to vote for number 1. Or you can abstain.
Okay.
Yeah, James, do you want to vote?
Okay, let's go ahead and vote on the proposal.
Okay, James, which one are you voting on?
I'm supporting the second option because supporting the first option of people not working together is somewhat crazy to me, because the idea of the organization is for everybody to be able to work with one another.
Right.
Exactly. Everyone needs to be able to work with one another. Okay, so then we have Thomas.
For me, I'll go with second option.
All right, Zilu.
Yeah, we don't need to work with anyone, and we can facilitate them to any session or any.
Okay, Benji.
I would grant Lucy's request. I would prefer number 1.
Okay. Albina.
Okay, I'll go by the second one.
Okay. Julie.
Yes, I'll go with option 1, Jay.
Okay. Steve. Oh no, Steve already did. Albina, Benji, Abdul, Steve are not here. Lucy, are you here? Do you want to vote at all, or are we?
I don't want to vote.
Okay, so Lucy is going to abstain, which is pretty normal for someone's own proposal to abstain for it. Right. So basically, the way this works is the way that we do all of our voting, and this is very important for facilitators, is when there's more than one option, 2 or more options, you vote on all of them. It's called a straw poll. And then whichever one gets the most number of votes, you propose that option, and then you try to get consensus on it. So now this is the proposal, and we vote on it again. And I'm a yes. And I would
I'm a
be
yes.
an 8.
I'm a yes, and I'm a 10. 9.
A 9. James?
I forget with 0 to 9, now 1 to 10.
I think I'm on 7.
Thomas?
Yes, sir. 7.
Julie?
7.
Who just said that?
Yeah, 5.
Who was that? Julie, Benji, you guys want to vote?
Yes. Can I skip that? And I don't want to vote.
She abstains.
So you abstain? Benji?
Yes, Jared.
Benji?
Just one. Just one.
1?
Yes, 1, he said.
So that would be a no and a 1.
Okay.
From there, we would have Bina.
Yes, at 8.
Lucy.
Yes.
James, we got James, right? Thomas, do we get Thomas? Yes, we got Thomas. No Asif, no Abdul. I think we're done. We done?
We're done.
Does anyone want to average it, or shall I?
Zulu is not there.
Yeah, I will.
It's yellow.
Zulu, yeah.
Yeah, he's yellow.
What are you voting, Zilu?
8.
So I don't know if I got it right, but I get an average of 6.22. So this again is what's called a positive abstention. So if anyone wants to double check that, the abstain basically counts as like a 0 to 1. Actually, abstain counts as a 5. I forget. Abstain is a 5. So let's do that again. So 8 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7 plus 5 plus 8 plus 7. All right, it's a 6.66. So I mean, this basically is positive. That's a yes. So it averages to a yes. So it's almost a 7. But there's definitely a little hesitancy. But this is really helpful. It's good. The most important thing of this is not that we made a decision, but that each and every person got to express themselves in a way that we all understand where every person in the team is coming from. And so this is really, really good, and this should all go in our decision making. So I think that's it. I think that's everything.
All right, everybody, I will be out of touch. I get on at 11:15. I'll be for about 25, 30 hours. I will see everybody hopefully at the Galactic session. I should be back in time for that, or landed in time for that. Take care, I'll see you in a day or so.
All right, thank you, Steve. We're going to continue a little bit longer, but thank you so much for being here. It's really helpful, and have a good safe travels.
I have to go finish packing now. Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Going to Philippines.
And anyone who doesn't have my Skype, get it from somebody on here, please. I will gladly accept your request. So if you do have a conflict and need to get to me, you know how to get to me. All right.
Okay, Steve.
Cool. All right, so are there any other proposals anybody would like to make at this time related to this? Any other proposals?
For me, I think I have none. ones that we have already listed are satisfactory for me.
Great. Okay, so I think that we're good on all the proposals. We're ready to wrap. We're pretty much ready to wrap up. So now we're going to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes really just directly checking. Oh, this is checkouts. Directly checking in with Lucy, Julie, and Benji, and anyone else who wants to input in and see where we're at. So basically, where are we now in the process? All right, we have finished the policy and proposals for the professional aspects of the work. We have clear agreement in the team that, everyone does need to learn how to work together, right? Clear agreement that everyone does need to work together eventually, right? But obviously we will do everything we can to make people accommodable in the short term. From there, we also realized that there are still possible issues. Actually, there's still issues. There's still issues that have not been resolved, that need to be resolved. The next part of our process would be what's called the conflict evolution component, where we go into the introduction, nonviolent communications, requests, rethink the policies, and then it can come back to the team again with more discussion and proposals as needed. So this would be the next step here, But the reason why we wanted to address all of the proposals in relationship to the professional side of it is just to get that all out of the way so we can focus on the work. And then we can continue to do the conflict resolution. So we might want to continue tomorrow or consider doing more now. And so right now what we want to do is want to hear from individuals about your situation, okay? So let's hear from anybody else who wants to talk about where we are now, where we are in the process. Next steps from anybody? Okay, I hear nothing. So let's go to Benji, Lucy, and Julie, and anyone else who wants to chime in about just the situation, how you feel about where we are right now, and if it's okay to schedule for tomorrow to get deeper into the communication and nonviolent communication and other aspects of conflict resolution, or if you want to do that now, or even doing it next week. So let's hear from each of you. Like, was this helpful today that we did all this? Did it not help? Julie, Benji, Lucy?
This is very much helpful, Jay, and I don't see other reason of keeping this thing for one day for the next time. We are not here only to solve the conflict. I think we are here to do work. If we can just finish today and call it a day so that we can begin a new chapter. And forget about Lucy and Benji fighting, having a conflict, and begin a new chapter whereby we can see another different characters from them.
Great. So what I heard from you is that you felt this was very helpful, that you're not sure that we really need to continue now, or possibly, wait a week or so to see how things are going before really pushing it more. From there, if we could just finish up for today, and I love how you talked about, beginning a new chapter, turning the page of the book and just giving it a try and forgetting about like the past issues and starting in the space that we have now. So that summarize what you said, Lucy?
Yes.
Great. Julie, Benji, anyone else?
For me, I think we have to move on and forget about the past and focus on more important things like for me like focusing on training because I need a lot of trainings and
Great. So Benji, you're saying that you're ready to move on. You want to forget about the past as well, and focus on the trainings and get more into the work and learn a lot more. That all sounds good. Is that more or less what you were saying, Benji?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, and then I'll just add that the most important thing for people who want to do training is to focus and work with me on the overall priorities. The faster we get all the overall priorities done, the more time we could spend on training. Okay.
Yeah. By the way, Jay, can I request for the link for the video trainings and the 300 list you mentioned earlier, so that I can help also the newbie if they will ask me?
So the video training is right here, is linked there.
Yeah.
And the other one is right here. The buddy team schedule right here. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Julie.
Julie.
Yes. Hi, Jay. Hi, everyone. I have moved on already, and I don't want to say much. I just really want to continue to work. Thank you.
Cool. So this is a very, very minor thing, but it's a cultural thing and it's an English thing, right? You know, it's like in a delicate communicative manner, you always would say like, you know, I am ready to move on, or I am moving on, right? In the present tense. So when you say like, I have already moved on, right? Or I have moved on already, it implies that you're not present. So it's a minor thing, and I think it's just a vocabulary thing, but I'm just telling you that the correct way to say it in a de-escalatory way is simply saying that, you know, I'm ready to move on, or I'm moving on in the present tense, because we're all here in the present, as opposed to the past. It doesn't address us as humans, if that makes sense.
Okay, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're welcome to restate it, but I just want to note that. But anyway, so what I'm hearing from you is that basically you, basically you have already moved on, and basically what that means is that you're ready to get back to work, and that's what you're excited about, is doing the work, et cetera, and to continue. That sound good, Julie? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, Jay.
Okay, cool. So, anybody else want to chime in here on how you feel about the process and where you're at? I'm going to say something, I know that, but I'm going to let someone else go first.
Okay.
James, yes, please.
Yeah, I think I'll contribute a little bit because for the past few weeks I've been quiet about the conflict because I thought it wasn't my. I tried as much as I could, and for me right now, because it is good to see that Lucy, Benji, and Julie are ready to move on. And what I can say about conflict, because you know we say that the FQN is about helping the public, about being accountable to the public, and when there's a conflict, we tend to forget about responsibility, which is helping. How can we help the public if we can't even help ourselves? Because for me, the conflict, it won't help because when we are in a conflict, we tend to miss a lot of things. So it is good that they have agreed to put down the conflict, and it's time to move on, because the best thing about Julie, Benji, and Lucy, and me possibly, we come from different cultures, and we should not use that culture as a limitation, and instead use it as an opportunity or as an advantage, because we can combine the two cultures and come up with something greater than ourselves. So that's my take for today.
Thank you, James. Anyone else? I'm going to say something here. One of the reasons why the conflict evolution process is evolutionary is because it's not only a learning experience for the people who are directly engaged in the conflict, but also the whole team. So I actually personally think it's extremely healthy, not even just for, Lucy, Benji, Julie, James, other people who are involved in the issues that were going on, but also helpful for the entire team to learn and hear about and understand nonviolent communication techniques, understand conflict resolution, understand, the request systems and building proposals and building solutions as a team. So, the only issue at hand is that we're behind on all the work, right? But other than being behind on the work, I think it's actually a good thing to have a reason to go into conflict evolution. It's a part of our evolution as we work together, and it's a key essential component of the FQN Community Network and our methodology and our foundation of communications and everything. So I actually would prefer, I agree that we should close up tonight. We should wrap up. We should check out. It sounds like everything's ready to move forward. It sounds like we could take a week, see how things go over the course of the week. But I do think that a next step should be to schedule a conflict evolution and talk about the experiences. I would be willing to do it tomorrow or later in the week, but I'm also willing to wait a week and then schedule it. But I do think we should schedule it, because every time we get an opportunity to express our emotions and our difficulty and all of the pain and the overwhelmingness that we're going through as humans, it's really helpful. And that's where you do it. On the professional side, you don't express all your feelings and everything. You try to stay professional and try to just get it out, in a way that's clear. But in the conflict evolution side, it's about communication, and you have to use emotions and use feelings to communicate how it actually is experienced within your own perspective. So I think it's actually a really good thing to do it, even if there wasn't conflict, to just learn the process. But I think this is an excellent opportunity. So hopefully we will still move forward with the conflict evolution process and actually finish another half hour that we've our goal is to complete. But maybe we'll wait like a week or so before doing that. So that's what I would say. Check. Anyone else that wants to add before we do our final checkouts?
Just a request.
Say again.
I just want to request you guys to let this thing end here. I don't want again next time seeing Lucy fighting with Benji, Julie. I just want this thing to end here. If something come up, not let that not to be Lucy and Benji and Julie. It's not good. I think let this thing end here.
No problem. That's no problem.
Actually, yes. Actually, Jay, there would be really no problem if everyone should respect each other. So I think there will really be no problem, and if everyone is very ready to listen each member, so I think there's really no problem.
Anybody else? Albina, Thomas, James, Zilu.
Okay,
Okay, I'll say something. I think I agree with these three, Lucy, Benji, and Julie, for accepting to end this conflict between them. And I'm so glad because we are going to start on a new thing. I also have an issue about me and Thomas being in a professional team. Because we are still new, I think I request for someone to support us so that we get to know and understand everything that is requested of us. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay, let's just address that really quick, and then I have one other thing to say in the broader context. So a provisional buddy team is where you create your what's called a buddy team budget HR proposal to the HR board. And you can read about it in the buddy team process. So we can also create secondary buddy teams where basically you guys work together. Obviously, the easy one is you could do Lucy, Thomas, and Albina. You can also do James and Albina, and I'll just say James, Albina, and Thomas as well. So those are obviously the easy ones to do. So you guys should all be connecting with Lucy and James because it's easiest for you because you guys are all in your Africa. And just like, I would say 30 minutes or something like that. Whatever you guys need to do, just, communicate with each other and support each other. So these are secondary buddy teams, but you still have to do your provisional buddy teams. Your provisional buddy team is still Thomas and Albina, right? So this is part of our process, is that you need to be able to learn how to put together a buddy team proposal. It's a challenge, and that's part of our processes, is this, to work together as a team to solve a problem that you don't know how to do. Does that make sense? Albina?
Yes, makes sense.
Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So anyways, to finish addressing the conflict issue, I just want to make it clear that for me, and in my perspective, the whole idea that you can just declare that a conflict is over and done and gone is not reality, right? It's a great thing to say, but it's just not how the world works, right? You can't just say like, oh, all Palestinians and Israelis are going to love each other and work together forever into the future. It's just not realistic, right? So in that context, I personally would actually prefer to finish the process and actually just do it tomorrow and get it out of the way and then be done, right? And then move on, than to, basically tell everybody that it's all going to be perfect and hunky-dory when it may or may not be, or that, generally speaking, it's never going to be perfect. And we don't necessarily want it to be perfect. Having everything perfect is not the goal. The goal is just to accept and deal with our relationships, and that our relationships are constantly evolving and constantly growing and changing. So, I mean, the whole idea that we would box ourselves into a corner and saying that we can't do the conflict evolution as needed would be, one, against our policies, and two, would be implying that it's a bad thing, which it's not. So it would actually, to basically get, if we had a culture within our community that dealing with conflict evolution was a bad thing, that would actually make everything much, much worse. So anyways, I'll do whatever the group wants to do, but we might want to vote on that. Either way, I would love to hear from someone else, like James or Thomas or Zilu or anyone else who's here. And then we'll finalize that and move on.
Okay, let me go. Okay, what I think about this, okay, these three, I think they should with each other, and they mean that, not to say that the conflict is gone and hence they are carrying the grudge behind their back. I think they should mean what they are saying right now, and let us move on with the new task, and we work together, sure, because it's not a good thing to see people fighting on one, okay, fighting each other. Surely it's not a good thing. Surely. I think we should be more professional and move on. Let's solve problems. Let's have a small problem. Let's go then we move on. So we should forgive each other and move on better. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, I was out of the session for 1 hour due to my power cut, and I would recommend all these persons to work together. And if any problem prevails or exists, we should ignore it, because we are working for an environment, a professional environment. We should go for our work. These small kind of things. So it will help us to grow together as well as help the organization to grow. That's all from my side.
All right, so I think there's a couple options. We should just kind of finalize this and make sure it's clear. There's some really bad background
Zilu,
noise.
can you mute yourself, please? Zilu, if you don't mind, my brother. Can you mute yourself, please?
Okay, so option number 1, in my opinion, would basically be, quote, end the conflict, as is said, right? What this would mean to me is that we would, have no policies and, full collaboration of all members. No problem with Buddy, Team, Lucy, Julie, and Benji. Right, so basically, like, all the proposals that we just made to create all these, like, boundaries and issues and all that stuff would just go away, right? Reverse all of the policies that we created, and everyone is going to work together, 100%. That's what that means to me. 2 would be to, continue to do, 30 minutes right now on the conflict evolution process, and get, and give people a chance to talk. 3 would be to schedule the conflict evolution next week after the main session. 4 would be, to give it a try and review everything in a week or 2, and if the group votes, to move forward with conflict evolution, it happens, and everyone agrees to it. So the thing that I'm trying to get to understand here is that we just spent an hour creating this entire, or 2 hours creating this entire reasonably complicated structure of, divisions and, relationships and all this stuff to help ease the tensions. And to say that everything's just end would imply that we can reverse all of that. You guys understand what I'm saying in terms of option 1?
Totally.
So option 2, 3, and 4 is, okay, let's acknowledge the fact that there's still something going on, and that we did this all for a reason, and that we just work with the best of our situation, and as needed at any time the group can vote to do the conflict evolution process. We either do it right now, we do it next week, or we do it whenever the group decides that it should be proposed and done, but we basically give time. So James, do you want to vote? I'll vote. I would either vote, this is a straw poll, so you can vote on whichever one you want. I would say either 2 or 3. James?
I'll vote for 2. Number 2.
Obviously votes for number 2. James, Asif, Julie, Benji.
For me, I think we'll go with number 2 so that we can discuss more on this, and then after that maybe we can go with the idea of assuming that the conflict is over.
Yeah, okay, I will also go for 2 because we have to finish then and there. We have to finish everything now and move forward with a new start. So I'll go for 2. Thank you.
I'm also for 2.
I would go to number 1.
Okay, for me, I'll go.
Same here, James.
Thomas?
I choose number 1.
For me, I'll go in number 2, and then, Jay, can I ask a question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any policies that says about the conflicts in this work?
This is our conflict evolution process, is how we deal with conflict.
Okay, then you can go in number 2 so that we can solve and maybe add some more rules for future reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And generally speaking, I mean, the overall idea is that, anyway, so it looks like we have a decision made here. Does anyone object to just moving forward with doing 30 minutes right now about the conflict evolution? Like Benji and Julie, do you guys agree to do 30 minutes right now just to kind of wrap this up?
Honestly, I would disagree because if we already move on, then why we talk it again?
When did we all move on?
Yeah, when we about earlier we talked about moving on like that.
Okay, but there was never a proposal that was made. We never agreed to it. People just talked about it. There's a big difference.
Okay, no problem. If that is the situation.
So you can put in another like 30 minutes right now?
Yes, from my side.
Yeah, yes. Okay.
And Julie as well, you can as well?
Yes, if it is the majority, Jay, then I would agree with it.
Okay, cool. So let's just do this now. We'll see how far we can get. The first thing I want to mention is that the foundation of our policy is this. We have a single planet at this point in time. And we can't kick people off. Right? So basically, like, you can't get rid of anyone, right? You can't get rid of anyone. And if you try, it's only hypothetical, right? So basically, the bottom line is that everyone needs to be willing to work out issues, differences, and figure out how to live together on this planet, right? So basically, it's not good enough to say, I don't want to do it, I'm over it, right? That's a really good way to get yourself kicked out of this network. Because that would basically mean that you're above everyone else, right? You don't have to deal with it, right? It can be really difficult, right? Can be very, 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 very difficult. And it can take lots and lots and lots of time. But, the idea is that eventually we should be able to deal with any issue. Okay, so And oh, by the way, this is the foundation. This comes from directly from Quaker communities and others. And the bottom line is this is from consensus, right? If you have a consensus model of decision making, you got to deal with the conflict. There's no way around it. All right. So, any questions about generally the foundation and why we do conflict evolution and what it means?
For me, I have no question.
Okay, so let me just go through the process really quickly. Wait, do I have it here? Yeah, here it goes. Step 1 is nonviolent communications. This is basically using I statements, right? Quote, I feel, ... And then you repeat what people say to make sure everyone feels heard. Feeling heard is the most important thing, right? You can't just fix anything, right? What you're doing and the goal is to make sure people feel respected, and the key to that is to be heard and to build understanding. Some of that is not possible if there's major language problems, but you can bring interpreters, you can do all that kind of stuff, whatever you need to do to help that. Don't use direct language in other people's, or speak for other people. That person did X, Y, or Z and screwed me, right? That would be exactly what you do not do, right? So instead you say, I felt this way when X, Y, or Z happened. All right, so that's nonviolent communications. There's obviously lots of violent words and nonviolent words. We can address those over time. Then you do request, I request X, Y, or Z from, person or group. So this is basically the context of nonviolent communications, conflict mediation, and conflict. I think it's been the main one. Conflict mediation is really, good at stepping up a level. So this would be if it's stepping up a level. If there are additional problems. So we're not going to get into conflict mediation today, but this is kind of the relation, a similar component to it, and helps move it forward. But typically with the conflict mediation, you need to get an outside facilitator or mediator. And we have access to plenty of external mediators, but basically, if the situation escalated, we would need to get outside help. Okay. So any questions on what we're about to do?
I don't have any.
Okay, so let's get started.
None so far, Jez.
Great, so let's get started. Who wants to go first? So this would either be, it could be James, it could be Lucy, Julie, Benji. Lucy kind of like brought us here, so we could start with Lucy because we know Lucy definitely has things to say. So, or we could be Benji or Julie or James or anybody else if you have something you want to say and express. And you can use all the emotions you want to. You just need to keep it in the context of your perception, and we will stop you if you, forget to use I statements and stuff like that. So who wants to go first?
No. Okay.
You want to go first,
guys?
James?
Jay, I think I would go first.
Okay.
So for the global team and for the Sonic team as a whole, we are.
So let me stop you. Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
The whole point of nonviolent communications and the conflict evolution process is not to speak for anybody else, right? So the whole idea of introducing it as, you know, the whole team and other people, you're kind of representing others. And our goal here is not to do that. You want to speak as yourself and nobody else, right? So it's about you. It's about James, okay?
I was getting to that point.
Okay, I'm just making sure that, you know, you were implying that you were speaking from a broader context of other people. Because you said quote for the global team, so you're implying that, you know, on behalf of the global team. So anyways, I'm sorry to cut you off. Just keep going. Your turn. James, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so continue. James?
Jay, for me, I think I'm a little bit lost. I'm going to give a person a head start.
Hello, guys.
Oh, hi, Zulu. Or Abdul.
Hi, Abdul.
Hi, Jay. Are you hearing me?
So, yeah, we'll let you go next, Abdul. Let's finish up with James. So James basically says that, you know, James says that I feel lost. Okay, so that would be a perfect statement of how you're feeling. It's about you. You feel lost. You're not sure what's going on. So, does that express how what you said, James?
Yeah.
And are you ready to move on and have someone else, or do you have anything else you want to say?
I'm going to give someone the chance to.
Okay.
To say.
Yeah. So sometimes the nonviolent communication, the conflict mediation, can be a new process, right? It's slightly different because you're not talking about other people. You're not talking about other groups or other things. It's all about talking about yourself and expressing yourself as directly as possible. So there, you know, but overall, you know, it all works out in the end. So let's go back to Abdul. Abdul, are you there?
Yes.
Did you want to say anything about how you're feeling or the conflict that we're talking about and all this stuff?
Yes, I think I am engaged, but I cannot see the video because in video just only the audio, and that's why I cannot see the. And I have some some problem on my internet connection because
okay,
in the morning, like
Abdul, we're talking about the conflict evolution and about all of the difficulties and what's going on within our group. So if you're just talking about your internet connection and other things about that aren't related to what we're dealing with as a team, then it's not directly applicable. Do you have anything to talk about in terms of the conflict evolution process?
Yes, I think I need to talk on conflict evaluation, right?
You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. You can talk
yes,
or you can not talk.
Hello, Jay. I think I can contribute on that.
Okay, please.
I feel that I feel good. I feel good that the people that were in the conflict that have been concerned. And as for me, I would request that Lucy, Julie,
we're not
Benji.
We're not quite to the requesting point yet. I would prefer you not to request things. That comes later.
I think they should able to solve their problems and help us to move on in the group.
Yeah. So saying something like that is counterproductive to the process because you're not talking about yourself. You're not talking about how you feel. You're basically requesting and telling someone else to do something and deal with something else. So let's focus on what you said before, which is, that I feel good and that the people in the conflict that, I didn't quite hear that last part, but can you just focus it on the I and the feeling and your how you're feeling?
Okay. What I was saying is that I feel good that people who are in conflict will be able to solve their problems, and reconcile on both sides. And that will help us to move on with our job and get more chances for us to cover more tasks.
Cool. All right. So would someone like to practice repeating back what Thomas said? I can't hear anything. Can anyone else hear? Gilo, I don't think we can hear you. Can everybody mute? If you're not talking, can you mute? Oh, there we go. Okay. So Zilu, we weren't able to hear you. You can try it one more time if you want to. Otherwise, we should go to someone else. So we just need someone to repeat back what Thomas said.
Actually, there was too much distortion in the, in listening up, and I think I did not hear him properly. There was too much distortion in his voice.
I'll do it. So what I heard from you, Thomas, was that you feel good, that you're glad that people are able to solve, and work through their problems, and that the concern on both sides, and that this can help us move forward with and get our working done, our job, and that for more chances for us to cover more tasks. Is that?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Great. All right. Do you have anything else that you'd want to add, Thomas, in terms of how you feel, or are you ready to move on? I think we're ready to move on.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on. Yeah.
So, is someone else ready to speak about how you feel? Lucy, Julie?
Yes, Asif.
Asif, okay.
Actually, I'm not taking any kind of notice for these small things, as especially when I'm working. But yes, I do take, I do get very, aggressive when people are not focusing on their work properly. So I would really,
So again, like when you're talking about other people not doing things is totally against the rules of the nonviolent communication and the focusing on I statements. and your feelings about how you feel about actions that occurred. Okay? So when you say that I get aggressive when other people are not doing something, that's pointing at other people, and that it would be that's not a nonviolent communication tactic. So you want to do your best to talk in I statements and how you feel about something that happened, right? So when you talk generally about other people, that's what's not allowed. You got to speak in I statements about how you feel about X, Y, or Z action.
Okay. So generally, I, ignore each and everything when I'm working in an environment. I do not take any kind of notice. I just focus on my work, and I would like to complete it in a professional manner. That's it.
Okay. So would someone like to repeat what Asif said?
Hi, Zed.
Yes.
I think I feel
I can't hear you, Abdul.
Lucy, Benjamin, Julie are one news, and I forget their figures. But yes, I think it's really good to our organization, I think.
Could anyone hear Abdul? I wasn't able to hear it. So anyways, I wanna like step back for a second and just like this is a reasonably simple process. Like someone speaks, they say how they feel when something took place, and they describe it using I statements, their own feelings, and what happened, right? And it's a very safe space, it's a neutral space, and then we repeat what the person said, right? The fact that we're not as a team capable of doing this very simple exercise is exactly the context of why it's difficult to communicate and not work together as a team, right? So this should be like literally like looking at the back of your hand, right? Saying a nonviolent I statement of what took place, how it made you feel, and then repeating back what the other person said, and then moving on. This is not rocket science. This is like just if we can't do this, we can't work together as a team. Like this is a lot more important than you guys could ever imagine. So is anyone capable of repeating what Asif said, or do I need to do it? Can someone say no?
I think I can try.
Okay, James, go for it.
So, for Asif, what he was talking about is that we need to put aside our personal differences so that we can focus on the tasks that we have and conduct ourselves in a more professional manner and forget about our personal issues or personal weaknesses which might drag us down.
And Asif, is that what you said?
So that was a bit relevant, but instead of we, I focused on I.
So James, do you want to rephrase that?
Yes, I feel that it is important that when we are
you're repeating what Asif just said. Back to Asif.
Can I try?
Let's just let James finish. I think he was almost done, but you want to do you want to finish, James? And then we'll go to Lucy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I can back up a step. Let's back up a step. Asif, can you say what you just said again back to James? in terms of whether or not he said what you heard, what you said correctly, whether you heard it correctly? Can you say it again, Asif?
Yeah, James took it in a broader manner, but as we are focusing on I statement, so instead of going we, which James was going, I focused on I statement. So it will come. I'm not taking notice for these small things, especially when I'm working. I generally ignore each and everything when I'm working in an environment. I focus on my work. I would like to complete it in a professional manner. So James James focused on we, and I brought his focus to I statement. So that's my point.
Yeah. So
I hope I can.
That's perfect. So I wanna make it really clear here that Asif said something. James repeated what Asif said, but he said it wrong by a single word, and it changed the meaning that Asif had to correct James. And so now James is simply going to restate it and make sure that there's agreement on what was heard. So James, do you want to try again?
Yes.
And you would start with what I heard Asif say was, and then you repeat what Asif said in your own words.
So what I heard Asif say is that personally for me, when I'm working with
it would be
anyone,
for him.
Sorry?
It would be personally for him.
For Asif.
Yeah, for Asif, yeah.
What I heard Asif say is that for him, when he's working, what he would really love is to focus on is to ignore all the personal issues that would affect his performance and his relationship with other team members, so that he can work in a more professional way possible.
Asif, is that what you said? Asif, is
yes, that's what my point was.
Perfect. Okay, that's good. So that was perfect. Very good job. And you can see why this is so important, because little itty bitty words, you know, it's like just flipping a couple words around can give a whole different meaning. And it can seem kind of silly, but this exercise is extremely powerful in terms of actually listening to people and actually repeating back what they said and actually making sure they actually heard what you said correctly, right? It's unbelievable how rarely we ever do anything close to this. All right, Lucy, do you want to go now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really feel good, and I always like to make sure all my tasks is covered, well done, and always focusing on new things.
Okay. Julie, Benji, or someone else, you guys want to repeat what Lucy said?
I think I'll repeat what Lucy tried to say.
Okay, Albina. Mm-hmm.
Lucy is trying to say that she feels good, and her mission is to make sure that all tasks are covered and well done. And she's always focused on every new things.
And Lucy, is that correct? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Perfect. And Lucy, do you have anything else you want to say? No. Okay.
Jay?
Yeah.
I think I'm ready to change my statement, my earlier statement, to run above just above.
All right, go for
because
it.
Now I have an idea.
Yeah, go for it.
So for me, I feel that the conflict with Julian see, and it was necessary because I got to learn a lot of information regarding to how I should handle a conflict and the consequences that I'm likely to face if I get into a conflict with other people. And I also got to learn how I should address other people and consider other people when it comes to communications. And that I know that it will help me along the way when it comes to serving the organization.
Would someone like to repeat what James said in your own words?
Yes, I can repeat, Jay.
Okay, go for it, Julie.
Yes, so James is I think he learned a lot about the conflict within us with Lucy, and it was necessary for him because he learned a lot of information on how to handle the conflict and the consequence that he will face. And he also wants to consider other people when it comes to communications, and it will help him along the way when it comes to serving the organization.
James, is that what you said?
Yeah, that was correct.
Perfect, great. Is there anything else you'd like to add, James, before we move on?
For me, what I would say is that for me, what I love is always when I'm addressing a person, I always like to get to know a lot about a person so that I can establish baseline of what that person would really like to hear from me, okay, or the way that he would like for us to develop our relationship. And it would be better if we can get to know each other, not only on a professional level, but a personal level, because we get to learn more about a person. And that will always help when it comes to situations where you find yourself that you are in a position where there is a potential conflict.
Would someone like to repeat what James said? Benji, you want to give it a try?
Okay. He said that for him, he would love yeah, for him, what he love is always, and when he addresses a person, and he likes to learn a lot about a person and establish a baseline of what that person would really like to hear from him, and the way that the person would like to develop that relationship, and better to get to know each other on a personal level. And it always helps when it comes to situations when you find himself in positions of a potential conflict. Is that correct?
Is that what you said, James?
That's what I said, 100%.
Perfect. Is there anything else you would like to add before we move on?
For me, I think I'm good.
We're good? Okay, cool. Would anyone else like to speak? For example, Julie and Benji. I think you guys and Abdul. Or Zilu if we could get him, but we definitely want to get to Julie and Benji. But we're making a lot of progress here. I'll just interject and just say how, like, it just feels so good when you feel heard. And even like listening and hearing other people being heard, it just feels good. You know, we all like to know that someone actually listened to us and understands us. You know what I mean? So this exercise if you apply this to all aspects of organizing and communication, it can transform the world. Okay, Benji, Julie, Lucy, anyone else who wants to say something?
Can I say something?
Yes, Albina.
Okay, for me, I think I am equal to any other person in a team. The word is equality, in a way that when I'm entitled to work on a given task, I have to perform as any other person. The only difference with us is that we have old members and some new members. And this is not a reason that we are not supposed to work. It's that all of us need to be trained on a given task. And everyone, especially for me, what I have to give as an outcome must be almost 100%, because that is my task. It's like I own that task as being my own task, and also learning interpersonal skills, in that you relate with each and every person by learning them, their character, their emotions, and how to handle them. Yeah, that is according to me. Equality.
Cool. And I'll just note that you did very well. There was just one part where you almost said, like, you almost started talking about other people, like everyone has to, but then you kind of reversed and went back into, you know, I and what I have to give, right? So you did a really good job, right? You almost said everyone has to give, but you brought it back to what I have to give is, right? So you brought it back into I statement. So it's really good. Does someone want to repeat what Albina said and to just do your best to put it in your own words? You can paraphrase. It's pretty long. Here, I'll just do it to save time. So what I heard Albina say was that basically that she feels that she's equal to all other people on the team. You know, that you know, equality is a fundamental way, and that brings both it also brings responsibility in that we all need to work and do the given tasks that we perform. And although there are new and old members, you know, that we all still need to learn, you know, learn the certain tasks and do the training, and then also give 100% for the work that we're focusing on when we have and in the people that we're working with and dealing with. Is that more or less correct, Albina, what you said?
Yes, that is exactly what I said.
Perfect. Great. All right. So Benji, Julie, do you think you guys could do a quick statement and then we'll be pretty good?
Yes, Jay. So,
yeah.
For me, I feel relieved because the conflict has been solved already, and I just want to continue and look forward for better teamwork soon. So I think that's all I can say, Jay.
Perfect. All right. Lucy, do you want to repeat that back? And in your own words, Lucy, what you heard?
Yeah, what I heard Julie said, she felt relief because of the conflict with them. And the conflict is now solved, and she is now going to continue and looking forward to better work team soon with everyone. Is that okay?
Is that correct, Julie?
What did you say, Julie?
Yes, Jay.
Well, yes, Lucy, but yeah, cool. Great. All right. Anything else you would like to add, Julie?
I'm sorry, Jay?
Is there anything else you would like to add, or more? Or anything else you want to say, or are you good to move on?
That's all, Jay. I'm good.
Thank you. Benji, would you like to say anything? You want to do a statement, Benji?
For me, Jay, I feel good that there are some people that they learn from our experience. They learn the lesson.
So Benji, I'm gonna stop you. Benji, I'm gonna stop you. So I'm gonna stop you. You started good. You started saying about how you feel, but then you started talking about other people and that those other people will learn and that they do this or that, the other thing. So you want to bring it back to I statements and talk about yourself. So just keep it on yourself and your I statements. And your own feelings.
I feel good that I feel good that the problem is, or like what Julie said, the problem has been solved, and now I am just what I said earlier. I am moving on and always looking forward to future.
Perfect. Lucy, do you want to do this one too, or someone else just to repeat what Benji said?
Benji said he feels good because the problem has been solved. And now he's ready to move on and looking forward to better future.
Is that correct, Benji?
Yes, it's correct.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No more.
No more. Perfect. Okay. So, Abdul or anyone else, did you guys want to say any last things before we move on?
I think Abdul is not here.
Okay. All right. So I think we're ready to move on unless there's any last things that anyone wants to say. I want to just say that you guys did an amazing job. This is not an easy exercise the first time you do it. It's very, very difficult to talk in I statements and not talk about other people because we are trained to talk about other people all the time when we're talking. So it actually could be very difficult to not think about everybody else and only think about yourself. But it's the best way to communicate because we don't know what other people are thinking or feeling or doing. All we ever actually know is what we ourselves feel and experience and our perception of it. So when we talk in the context of other people and what they are seeing, feeling, hearing, or seeing or doing, it's always, it's never can be exact, right? It's always just an interpretation. So I think this is really good. The next step of this would be the requests. I remember that maybe Thomas had a request. If anyone else had a request, this is where you would bring the requests in, and then we can potentially turn those into proposals, bring them back to the group for the future. If there are any requests. If there's no requests, then we basically can just wrap up. And I don't think we need to check out because these were very deep communications. So I don't think we have checkouts to do. So are there any requests?
My request is just irrelevant, but I want you to schedule your Africa main team so that I can schedule my calendar with the other team.
Yeah,
I have to do that.
You're empowered with other people to schedule your Africa main session, at any time, and then you can schedule your buddy teams around that. So just make a proposal, get a group together, and schedule and make it happen. Then you have to let everybody know, in advance. So just make sure it's announced. You guys have to announce when it's going to be, so everybody could come if they want to. Okay, but you don't need to get permission to do it. You can just do it.
Okay. Should I have to put as a main buddy team session for everyone?
No, it's just you're just scheduling a main Eurafrica weekly session, so it'll be a weekly scheduled session, and then you can also schedule 1 or 2 other additional buddy teams, and then it would all go on the calendar so that people are able to come and interact. Okay.
Okay. Then they need to be communicated the right time for the whole team that can be agreed on.
Yes, it should be. You need to get agreement from at least 1 other person, and then for the Eurafrica main weekly session, we can discuss that at a Sonic session or even at the Austrasia session. We can make an agenda item and schedule it with the whole group, or you can do that on Skype or you could also even make a form. So anyways, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but we'll make it happen. So any other requests?
Yeah.
Any other requests?
Yeah. I have a request.
Okay.
I want to request either James or Lucy to make a time as me and Albina, but they can teach us on some task, how to do some task, and that they guide us so that you can make our own party team, me and Albina. So if they can make that, if they can make the time and they contact us, and I'll be glad for that, surely.
Cool. So that was a request to you, Lucy, and James. You guys willing to maybe say after this, when we're done, and schedule a time with Thomas and Albina to meet with them?
For me, if Lucy can agree, okay, me, I have no problem helping them set up their budget proposal first and doing the necessary documentation for their budget team anytime that they are ready.
Cool. And I mean, you guys are basically like, this is a top priority, is to help train and support Albina and Thomas. So you guys have been, tasked to help with that process as a secondary buddy team. You could technically do a 4-person team, like a double team, and then like kind of break back and forth into buddy teams if all 4 of you can meet. Usually it's easier just to meet with 2 or 3 people at a time. Or it could be the main session or whatever. But, just are you guys down to just check in after we finish the session and schedule a time? Is that okay?
That's okay. I think that's the right one.
Okay, great. Any other requests?
Yes, from my side.
Yes, I see.
I don't know whether you will approve it or not, but I have to make a request. I'm not criticizing any person over here, okay? I just wanted to work with James or Lucy because they are very much understandable to me. I'm not saying that other people are not, are not training me. They are training me. But what I feel that I feel more I understand more James and Lucy. So I request to work with these people if they allow, if you allow. So that's it.
Yeah. Definitely, and I would basically say that within the Sonic team schedule, and as we evolve other schedules and the Eurafrica schedules, we want to just make sure that at least once or twice a week you want to schedule the buddy team, make sure it's in the schedule, like James, Lucy, and Asif. Right, so you can put it in the schedule so at least once per week or twice per week that you know that you guys will have a time that you would higher probability to be able to connect. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, so make sure it gets in the schedule. Create a buddy team doc and start organizing. And I'm sure James and Lucy would be happy to work with you. But what does that sound good, James or Lucy?
Yes, I'm happy to work with us too.
Great.
Yeah, for me, I would be honored to work with you.
Cool. Awesome.
I think it is going to be advantageous for them because I have been given authority to have 1 to 2 buddy team. then that's you are very much welcome to join me in time on my anyone who is willing to join on my buddy team with him.
Great. Yeah, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good to like have a lot of different buddy teams. I mean, that's part of our goal is that people are scheduled and switch around to different buddy teams on different days. So you get lots of different experiences and perspectives. Does that sound good, Asif? Are we ready to move on?
Yes, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate James and Lucy as well. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yes, beautiful. Any other requests? Okay, so I think we're done. I'll just say that, you know, obviously, if this was a super intense conflict, it would have been a lot more back and forth and intense, and all the stuff might have gotten even more deeper, and maybe the requests would have been focused a little bit more on interpersonal requests. But this was still a great experience. I'm really glad everybody participated. I think we learned a huge amount of not just about ourselves, but about other people's perceptions and how they see and hear and experience things differently. And so I'm really glad we did this. So I think that's it. So anything else before we close? I think we're all checked out because we did pretty deep communication. So I think we're done.
Okay. I think I'm going to remain here for a while to do value tracking. Anyone who can join me do that, or you're tired, I can do it alone.
Great. And just
Lucy, I will help you in value tracking.
Yeah, and so if you guys just stick around, be sure to schedule with Thomas and Albina. And then if people do stick around, you need to break up into buddy teams. You know, remember the you know, the rankings and everything, but I got to go to sleep. You know, if you're not doing any work, you should just stop, and then that's it, and they're done. We'll all check in tomorrow, okay? So
what about value tracking, Jay? You're not going to do?
Oh yeah. Feel free to work on the value tracking and the documentation and like all the tasks, all that stuff. You guys can work for, you know, another half hour, whatever you need to do. If you don't have anything to do, then that's perfectly fine. Just wrap up, and we will connect again tomorrow. Okay. So I'll talk to you guys all later.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Good work.
Thank you, Jay.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Jay.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone to join us on value tracking, please?
As usual, I'm there for you. I'm there.
Okay.
We will do the second value responsive processing tool based and master box available to win. You hear me, Lucy?
I don't hear you, and that's some noise.
Sorry, I already updated the session cost responsibility verification sheet and the sections also.
Okay, what remains is
you just check it out.
Okay, just do only by tracking, yeah?
Yes, I only didn't do the session value. Without that, everything is already done. You just do the session value.
Cool. And just to remind you guys, like, if you guys are gonna stick around, you should break up into buddy teams. So like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys could easily do 2 buddy teams. But make sure you schedule with Thomas and James and Albina and Lucy. Okay. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.